Stephen Hawking's life was incredible, even more so because in the 1960s he was diagnosed with ALS or motor neurone disease and given just a few years to live. This rare form of motor neuron disease left him virtually paralysed, unable to express his profound vision of humanity and science without a voice synthesizer.
At one point, I thought I would see the end of physics as we know it, but now I think the wonder of discovery will continue long after I am gone.
But this was never a man back.
मशहूर वैज्ञानिक और ब्रह्मांड के रहस्यों को बताने वाले स्टीफन हॉकिंस का आज निधन हो गया। जी हाँ दोस्तों, आप बिल्कुल सही सुन रहे हैं। हॉकिंस 76 वर्ष की आयु में आज चल बसे हैं। उनके परिवार के एक प्रवक्ता ने ये दुखद जानकारी दी है। उनका निधन लंदन के कैम्ब्रिज में उनके घर पर ही हुआ है। हॉकिंस के बच्चों लूसी, रॉबर्ट और टिम ने अपने बयान में कहा, हम अपने पिता के जाने से बेहद दुखी हैं। वो एक महान वैज्ञानिक और एक अद्भुत व्यक्ति थे जिनके कार्य और विरासत आने वाले लंबे समय तक जीवित रहेंगे। उनकी बुद्धिमत्ता और हास्य के साथ उनके साहस और दृढ़ प्रतिज्ञा ने पूरी दुनिया के लोगों में एक प्रेरणा का स्रोत भर दिया है। उन्होंने यह भी कहा कि उन्होंने एक बार कहा था, अगर आपके
CA's UK correspondent Oli Barat is joining us now for some reaction. Oli, good morning. Sad news indeed, and the world of science, of course, is mourning today after the death of 76-year-old Stephen Hawking in his sleep. His family describing as somebody who was extraordinary. How has the news of his death been received this morning in Britain?
Well, it's still only 6:30 odd in the morning here in the UK, so many people are still waking up to the news that Stephen Hawking has passed away at the age of 76. He was, despite being a scientist, which is not normally how you break through into mainstream consciousness necessarily in Britain, a towering figure in British public life, and so we can expect the tributes to be flowing all day here in Britain. We know that a book of condolence will be opened at the University of Cambridge, where he spent so much time and where he was a fellow, but tributes also pouring in from around the world as well. We've had a message from NASA who say they are remembering Stephen Hawking, the US Space Agency, a renowned physicist and ambassador of science, they called him.
The world loses one of its greatest minds and most famous scientists. Stephen Hawking has died.
Yeah, the physicist was 76 years old.
He dealt with a slow form of Lou Gehrig's disease since his early 20s. And CBS 2's Crystal Cruz is live at Caltech with a look back at his remarkable legacy. Crystal?
Hi, Pat. Caltech tweeted out they're in mourning over his passing. The rock star scientist sometimes worked here and also gave speeches. And tonight we're taking a look back at his brilliant mind and humor. Stephen Hawking was one of the greatest scientists of our time, often called a 21st century Albert Einstein. He was famous for his work on the origins of the universe, from the Big Bang to black holes. Diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease as a young man, he was confined to a wheelchair and spoke through a computer. But Hawking was living proof that people could overcome even the greatest obstacles.
For me, it is quite an achievement. I never thought I would get so far.
His 1988 book, A Brief History of Time, became a bestseller and made him an unlikely international celebrity. He also made several cameos on The Big Bang Theory and appeared on The Simpsons.
I wanted to see your utopia, but now I see it as more of a fruitopia. The episode was very funny. A no host has...
दोस्तों, ये खबर बताते हुए मुझे काफी ज्यादा दुख हो रहा है कि स्टीफन हॉकिंग अब इस दुनिया में नहीं रहे। दोस्तों, प्रोफेसर स्टीफन हॉकिंग का 76 साल की उम्र में निधन हो गया है। यूके मीडिया ने परिवार के प्रवक्ता के हवाले से बताया है कि उनकी मृत्यु कैम्ब्रिज में उनके घर पर ही हुई है। ब्रह्मांड के रहस्यों को बताने वाले वैज्ञानिक स्टीफन हॉकिंग का जन्म 8 जनवरी 1942 को हुआ था। उनके माता पिता फ्रैंक और इजोबेल हॉकिंग थे। हॉकिंग के पुत्र लकी, रॉबर्ट और टिम ने कहा है कि अत्यंत दुख के साथ हमें सूचित करना पड़ रहा है कि अब हम
pretending today to feel a sense of loss over Stephen Hawking. And they do, I mean, they do feel a sense of loss, whatever that means, but they have no idea what he stood for, no idea what he said, no idea about Hawking radiation or anything about science or physics. He was just, for many people, a very cool, popular icon. He might have been on The Simpsons or something, I don't know. But they know nothing about him. They don't understand science. They don't understand scientists or physics. In fact, today, our culture is so bereft of anything vaguely resembling science that the only two people that we have who are, I guess, at that level is Neil deGrasse Tyson, that media whore and that attention addict, and the worst, the synthetic, the faux, the bow-tie twit, Bill Nye the Science Guy, Bill Nye the Science Lie. That's where we are today. Now, there was a time a while back when people like Sagan rose to the top, when Isaac Asimov, who, by the way, was one of my heroes as a kid. I remember when I bought the book The Human Body, and my mother, my parents had to sign a special permission slip from Sister Kathleen Ann at Sacred Heart Academy, which, by the way, was a Catholic school on a cemetery, which I'll explain later on. But
Alright, some bit of breaking inputs which are just coming in, where Professor Stephen Hawking has reportedly died at the age of 76. Now, in a statement, Professor Hawking's children, Lucy, Robert and Tim, have said, "We are deeply saddened that our beloved father has passed away today. He was a great scientist and an extraordinary man whose work and legacy will live on for many years." So this is a bit of a breaking news which is coming in, where Stephen Hawking, arguably one of the greatest astrophysicists of our times, has passed away at the age of 76. There's a statement that's been put out by his three children who say that they are deeply saddened at the demise of Stephen Hawking. In many ways, it was Stephen Hawking who had redefined the way astrophysics is in fact viewed. And for more on this, we are joined in by my colleague Jessica Taneja. Jessica, this is a tragic bit of news which is coming in. Stephen Hawking is no more.
Absolutely, Saleh. The great Stephen Hawking, as we all know, discovering the theory of black holes and also contributing so much in the field of science. In fact, he was called one of the greatest Britons of all time. Stephen Hawking is, and it's suddenly sad that this morning Stephen Hawking is no more at the age of 78. Remember, he had a hard-fought.
Just found out that Stephen Hawking died, and that's to me, it's a really sad thing. I read A Brief History of Time when I was about 12, 13 years old for the first time, and I had the honor of meeting Stephen Hawking when I was 15 in Cambridge University. Just a truly great intellect.
Start with breaking news. It's just been announced that Professor Stephen Hawking has died at the age of 76. He was well known for his groundbreaking work with black holes and with relativity, and he was also the author of several popular science books, including A Brief History of Time. As a
Space with Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic.
Stephen Hawking's attitude and achievements inspire hope, intellectual curiosity, and respect for the tremendous power of science.
It's time to commit to finding the answer to search for life beyond Earth. The breakthrough initiatives are making that commitment.
Does that mean that there is a universe out there where I am smarter than you?
Yes, and also a universe where you're funny.
You don't realize what lies ahead. This is going to be a very heavy defeat.